are having a wonderful time in the city. Tomorrow is a big issue coming up on the ballot. We're not going to go too far down that rabbit hole, but here at WOBU, we endorse voting no on issue one. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later if we get a chance to. But we're going to go ahead and get into some NFL action. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Guardians in a little bit as well in that huge fight. So we got Cleveland Kate with us here today. What's up, Cleveland Kate?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
It's Monday.
Yeah.
Listen, I heard what you said. Whatever side you're on the issue tomorrow, the important thing is to get out and vote.
Yes.
Because regardless of what the outcome of that is, the number of people that vote matters. It matters so much now, and it will matter if that passes so much more in the future. It'll just go vote. Mm-hmm. Exercise your right to vote. I'm voting no, but you can vote however you want to vote. I'm encouraging everybody to just vote.
Yeah, and this is not only just, this election. This is about other citizen-led initiatives being able to get on the ballot, such as recreational marijuana. I know a lot of people would support that. I would support that myself. It's just, about people being able to have a say over politicians. And this is what we elect politicians for, to, do the best by us. And, unfortunately, this would be only 40% of people would be able to control the rest of the state. So, but here we vote no on issue two, and we'll go from there. So, Kate, a lot of exciting things. You were covering the Hall of Fame weekend down.
I know. I missed the fight. I had to watch it in tapes later, and I'm guessing it was better to see it live or when it was happening. But I was down in Canton for the last couple days. On Friday was the 60th annual fashion show. They started the fashion show back in the day to give the ladies something to do, because 60 years ago, women weren't really into football, and it gave the family members of the players and, all the men that were going to do things, it gave their women something to do. And it highlights local businesses. So local clothing stores would send some of their fashion for the show. And they had a lot of people that had some of the Hall of Famers had their daughters and granddaughters wearing stuff in the fashion show. So that was kind of cool. It's broadened because there are so many more women who are going down to Canton for Hall of Fame week because they actually like football and they want to go to those events. So it's really become a family thing. So there were a lot of men there supporting their women that were in the show, who the female-owned businesses, a lot of the clothing businesses in the Canton area that had stuff in the show were women-owned businesses, and just a lot of men there supporting them. So that was kind of cool. Saturday was the enshrinement itself. I love the fact that they start at noon. There are years when it would start at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and you've got 10, 12 people speaking. The year Kurt Warner got in was just a few years ago. By the time he came up to talk for his speech, he was last. The only people left there were Kurt Warner fans, and half of them had fallen asleep. So It's really not fair to be running that stuff until that late at night. And then people either got to get a hotel or drive home. Hotels that are normally $75, $100 in Canton were $400 a night last weekend. So by moving it to noon, we could run down from Cleveland to see Joe Thomas get in, and we were done by 4 and home by 5:30. So it was very nice. It was just really hot. That heat was something else. When you were sitting outside, if you were in the direct sunlight, it was crazy.
Froze up a little bit. She'll be right back. But Kate was talking about the fashion show, which I never knew existed. So
am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. So there were 9 gentlemen that were enshrined in the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It is not the NFL Hall of Fame. It is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They are a separate entity, but they do get support from the NFL. 2 of the gentlemen that were enshrined this year had passed away. Ken Riley, who was an insanely amazing cornerback for the Cincinnati Bengals, who retired back in '83. And then Don Coryell, the head coach for the Chargers, who created that famous Air Coryell offense that Dan Fouts ran, and that became very popular in his era. Chuck Hawley is still alive, but he is in his 90s and he's not in real good shape. So his son accepted on his behalf and spoke on his behalf. And then 2 first ballot Hall of Famers this year were Joe Thomas and Darrelle Revis. And then you had DeMarcus Ware, Joe Klecko, who is the other 73, I was calling him. He was a defensive performer for the Jets. He actually went to the Pro Bowl at guard, defensive tackle, and nose tackle. He'd been to the Pro Bowl at all three different defensive positions. And then Rondé Barber, who made a very nice pitch on Sunday to get his brother Tiki in. He said that his bust has a beard. He's got a little bit of a beard going on, and he made sure that when they met with the sculptor to do the bust, that they gave him a beard. He said that way, if his brother Tiki, or when his twin brother Tiki gets in, you'll be able to tell them apart, because there'll be the first set of twins in the hall, but Tiki ain't never worn a beard, so his bust won't have a beard on it. So a lot of the players this year, I think, were people we were all familiar with. I know, Rachel, you and I have been watching football long enough that you're probably too young to remember Ken Riley, but you remember DeMarcus Ware, Darrelle Revis, Rondé Barber. So they were some familiar names. And then there were obviously a ton of Cleveland fans, quite a few Jets fans. With Darrelle Revis and Joe Klecko going in, you had a wide variety of Jet fans who saw a guy that played in the late 70s, early 80s, and then a guy who just retired a few years ago. I forgot the other Thomas. So Zach Thomas. You had two Joes, Joe Klecko and Joe Thomas. You had two Thomases, Joe Thomas and Zach Thomas, who played for the Dolphins. He played for the Cowboys for a year, and he and DeMarcus Ware were there the same year, but the majority of his career was with the Dolphins. And then two 73s with Klecko and Thomas, both wearing 73 on different sides of the ball. So it was a fun class. It was a nice mix. Some very emotional speeches this year. DeMarcus Ware talked about how his father was absent in his life, and how he wanted to take that opportunity on that stage in front of all those people to tell his dad he forgave him, and that, faith was very important to a number of the men who spoke. And he was one of them who said he can't be right with himself and his family and his faith and his God if he can't forgive his father for, being absent for most of his life. And so that got me choked up. And then before Ken Riley's son spoke, they did sort of a video montage, and his wife had some things to say. And it's the thing that gets me every year. She got so choked up about how important this would have been to him, and how much she wished he had still been alive when, he was enshrined into the hall, so that he would know. She's like, I'm sure he's watching from heaven, but it would have just meant so much if he could have been here for it. And that just got me. I'm in the press room crying, because some of these guys, they get in when they're, after they're gone, is when someone says, we really need to honor him. And it would have just meant so much to him, especially the guys who played in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Joe Klecko said he was the highest paid defensive lineman when he played, at $700,000 a year. Aaron Donald makes $31.7 million a year. These guys weren't making money. Yes, 700,000 was good money, but it was like the equivalent of 2 million now, which again is good money. But a lot of these guys didn't make that. When they were playing in the 60s and 70s, they didn't make that. They played, and the pain and everything. They didn't have health care. They didn't have what they have now. They didn't have the safety equipment and stuff. They played for the love of the game. They had other jobs in the off season to support their families. And for so many of them to have to die in order for them to get the recognition they deserve just makes me sad, especially when, I think Ken Riley just died in 2020. It was just a few years ago. So there are a number of guys that are going to come up again for vote next year that are getting a real following from people. And what was funny is so Sunday was the Enshrinee Roundtable, and Sam Weish led that again this year, and he's been doing it since like 2015, I think. And I went over and got my yearly selfie with him behind me, and he's so nice about it every year, and he remembers my crazy, goofy self every year. But he asked the question, does a very nice job of leading the conversation with those guys. There's a big fancy lunch, and then they talk for about an hour. Joe Thomas strolls onto the stage in shorts and flip-flops. And, they're busting his chops. And he's like, hey, it's an Ohio thing. We wear shorts and flip-flops all year round. And it's true. You go to Giant Eagle on a Saturday in December, there will be a guy in there wearing a hoodie and shorts and flip-flops, because that's how we do. But the last question he asked all of them, and he does this every year, is who's not in the Hall of Fame that should be. And I was surprised because Zach Thomas listed a bunch of Dolphins that played with him, like, Mark Clayton and some of those guys from the Marino years. And then he said, and if I have to pick someone who's not a Dolphin, Clay Matthews, which got a huge
I was
screen
going to ask you
crowd.
about that.
And then Joe Thomas said the same thing. He brought up Dwight Freeney, which is who DeMarcus Ware noticed. They talked about his, they look at your stats and they look at all that kind of, most of it is stats to put you in the Hall of Fame. But something else they look at, and that is equally important, is did you bring something to the game that changed the game? And that spin move that Dwight Freeney of the Colts had was insane. And corners are still trying to figure out how he did it and copy it. Joe actually got up and tried to do it on the stage, which it was so goofy to watch him do that. But then he said, but if I had to pick someone else, it would be Clay Matthews. So he's getting, there's that movement from Browns fans. And I think when Zach Thomas from Miami and Dallas mentioned Clay Matthews, I knew that's a national thing. Like, it's not just us Cleveland being homers. That was, for me, the most impressive thing about Joe Thomas getting in, is because we love him and everyone's got there are Joe Thomas jerseys everywhere. And we talk about all of his numbers. And I just always wondered if we were just being subjective because he's ours. So to see him get in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot means it's not just that Cleveland recognizes how good he was. Everyone else did as well. He played, and his numbers are scary, Rachel, 10 and a half seasons before he was injured and decided to retire, 10,363 consecutive snaps, offensive snaps, which is an NFL record.
Crazy.
20 different quarterbacks, 6 different head coaches, 9 different offensive coordinators. That's insane.
Just 9?
That not just 9 offensive coordinators. And he said the same thing you and I say all the time. When he was growing up and in college, he didn't understand until his second year or third year with the Browns, when people said the most important ability is availability. And he made sure he was available for every play, that his brothers on the line knew that he was going to be out there on every single snap doing his job, that his dad would go to work in that crappy Wisconsin weather. And he'd be like, Dad, it's, there's 10 feet of snow outside. It's miserable. Why are you going to work? And his dad was like, this is my job. This is what we do. When you have a job, you show up and you do your job. And he said those kind of lessons that he learned from his parents early are why he was on the field for 10,363 snaps. Granted, he said there's a little bit of luck involved, that he had not been injured and had to miss, but he got that many snaps. And then listening to him talk at the round table, and then at a couple other things, the way he talked about other players, the way he analyzed the game, I don't think I or anyone else really realized how high his football IQ is, how smart he is, how much he watches. And then I think the funniest thing, and maybe in some way the scariest thing, was they were talking to Darrelle Revis about how he preps. And he said that he actually still has boxes and boxes and boxes filled with notebooks. He believed that in order to play against somebody, you had to know him. You had to know your enemy. He knew what they had for dinner the night before, what hotels they were staying in, what foods they ate, what TV shows. Like, he would track. He had notebooks tracking. I would love to get a hold of those and see some of the things he's written down about the men he played against in the NFL.
Wow.
But
that's amazing.
It was just funny to listen to. Rondé Barber talked about how much film he watched. He was a little guy compared to the other defenders in Tampa Bay when he was there, but he watched film. He studied it. He made his name. So those kind of things, those stories that you get to hear at the round table were cool. And then the other thing that was different this year, like in past years, they've had comedians that kind of do bits and roasts and stuff in between enshrinees. This year they had this guy named Steve, and I wish I could remember his last name. White guy that's sort of like a performance artist, does poetry. Reminded me a lot of Common, not as hot and not as good a voice, but that same kind of poetry, that just talking and that with the the rhythm and stuff, that performance. And he did something for each of the guys. And when he did Joe Thomas, he sort of did a riff off that song from Rent that talks about the minutes and how do you measure a life. And he was like 10,363 snaps. How do you measure an NFL career? And he just went off on it. If you can find those on YouTube, they're actually really good. I've never heard of this guy, but I thought the stuff that he did and came up with and the way he performed was very good, very entertaining.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and take
I
a
can't
break.
believe I just talked for 13 minutes, Rachel.
I interjected like, yep, that was good. Yep. So we're going to go ahead and take a break right quick. And then we have Kate for another 15 minutes. And then we're going to have Willie at the bottom of the hour at 6:30. So we're going to be right back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Sorry, I gabbed for so much. Hey. Yeah, I told her I got to be done at 6:30 because we're going to dinner. Right? So I just talked Hall of Fame. We just got one more segment and then I'm done. Oh, I got 2 of those for you. I was going to wear this. Do you want me to change my shirt? Wear the one that matches Kayla?
I gotta pay and change my shirt.
Yeah, Willie couldn't jump onto the bottom of the hour. I said I can talk Hall of Fame for half an hour real quick.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I'm here with Cleveland Kate, and we want to remind you to keep it locked right here on 95.9 FM on your regular radio dial. Then you can also download the WOVU app so you can take it with you on the go. You can also listen to us online at WOVU.org. And then you can always contact the station at 216-271-0959. So Kate is recollecting on the past weekend. She covered the Hall of Fame. So happy to have her here. We got her for another 15 minutes. But Kate, so you said one of the reoccurring themes kind of was about Clay Matthews getting into the Hall of Fame. Do you think that, this will be taken seriously? Because somebody got up and spoke about it in his speech, and, obviously Joe Thomas mentioned it, but, here in the local media, there's been that push too. Do you think that this is something that's going to happen and fairly soon?
For Clay Matthews?
Yes, for Clay Matthews.
Yeah. Sorry, my internet connection was getting sketchy, so I missed the beginning of that. You know what? I don't know. I don't understand why he's not in yet. I don't know what the hesitation is or what the issue is with the voters. Like, there were only 9 guys that got in this year. There were like 12 or 13 last year. So what's one more, right?
Yeah.
So there's anywhere from 6 to 14 is what they've done. And I've looked at his numbers, and his numbers are as good as anybody's. At the same time, there are only 371 men right now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Joe Thomas was 369. And I don't know what that song is. I was going to ask you. I keep hearing Murphy Lee or someone in my head going 369. Like, I don't know what that song is. I'm sure you or Chris Styles will know. So like, I'm like, oh, that's Joe Thomas's song now.
I don't know what that is either.
369. Damn, she fine. I don't know. I'll have to go Google it. Lose your card, Rachel. There are only 371 in there. And according to Jim Porter, the president of the Hall of Fame, since the beginning of the game of football, there have been 35 million men and women who have played from Pee Wee football all the way up through the NFL that have tried to get to where these guys are. There's only 371 in the Hall. I think his stats are worthy of being in the Hall. I think what he did in his career is definitely on par with some of the other gentlemen that are in there. Usually people will say, well, the way they do the voting is weird. You get a whole list of names and you get to vote for so many, a certain number of them. They'll say, well, there were just other people that I thought were more deserving. Well, at some point, there needs to be nobody else in front of him that's more deserving. So you get that same list of guys, plus then everyone who will be eligible next year. We had 2 first-year ballot Hall of Famers this year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next few years. I'd like it to be sooner rather than later. I'd like him to be able to walk across that stage on his own 2 feet. You run into any of these former Browns players around town who played in the 80s, and they can tell broke up. That game, they're broke. They broke. That game took a toll on their bodies. I don't know. I think he's worthy. We'll see. We'll see.
Can you imagine the reception from the, 80s fans and stuff? And then also, they didn't make it to no Super Bowl, but, they had some great years those years. And you would think based on that strength alone, based on the popularity of the team, I think, nationwide, I think the whole nation was.
There is a lot of love
as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of love and loyalty for those teams. Everyone remembers the drive. They remember the fumble. They remember Red Right 88. They remember what went on, against Oakland and Denver and those heartbreaking, we were the team everyone loved because we were just, we were the cardiac kids, right? And I think Joe Thomas's popularity is really with the current generation. To your point, people in their 50s and 60s will show up for Clay Matthews. He brings back all of our high school memories, our college memories, our growing up with football, watching it with our dad memories. So I think it would be very, very well attended. I thought it was interesting. I ran into Tony Grossi while I was there, and he said he hasn't covered an enshrinement since Gene Hickerson got in back in 2012 or whenever it was. I'm like, because he only goes out and covers it when there's a Brown in. So there were lots of Cleveland media folks there, I'll tell you that, and lots of Cleveland fans. So I will keep my fingers crossed for him. And I know his daughter, Jennifer, is on Twitter, and she, really tries to promote his getting voted in every year. And then, his nephew or his son, I think it's his nephew, Clay Matthews, the whatever. Isn't that his nephew that played for Green Bay, I think?
Oh, yeah, it was.
So anyway, yeah. I'm excited that season's underway. I thought the game against the Jets was very interesting, as even for a preseason game. I was bummed that we didn't get any snaps at all from Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers. I thought they both could have used them. What I found interesting was when Mond was under quarterback for us, who's listed on the depth chart as our number 3 quarterback. He didn't really do very well. They didn't move the ball very well. It wasn't pretty. They moved on that first drive, and then Cade York missed his very first field goal attempt of the season. So people are job. To me, what was more exciting was when DTR got in. When Dorian Thompson-Robinson got in, I loved that kid at UCLA. I loved talking to him at the combine. I loved it when we drafted him in the 5th round. I really hope he moves up on the depth chart. I hope they lock that kid down. Watching some of the film on Friday of the game Thursday night, watching him block like he wasn't a quarterback who could get hurt, watching him block, I felt a lot better about them giving him Brian Sipes' old number. And I am super excited to see if, he's in a good situation, I think, for him. You've got Deshaun Watson. He's going to play out this contract. And DTR can just sit on the bench and learn the same way Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. And when Deshaun's ready to go, I think DTR will be ready to come in. And I think we've got a really good shot at having our quarterback of the future sitting on the bench, because we'll be able to get him before his rookie deal's done. By the time, if we don't extend Watson, if we just do this deal and be done, I think we've got a really nice quarterback prospect sitting on our bench right now.
Yeah, a lot of people seem very excited about that. Let's go back to Kate York for a second. Do you any panic at all? But it was like, wasn't to be fair, wasn't it like a 47-yard kick or something like that?
It was 49.
Okay, 49.
And it's 49, and it's nerves and jitters, and the very first kick of the whole season, and everybody in the world is watching because ain't nothing else on to watch. And of course he's gonna miss it. And so the heat is raining down on him. I'm telling people, y'all need to calm down. Let's just get through the preseason and see what's going on. Yeah, I'm not worried. And I'm hopeful that with Deshaun under center and with another, we've had more time now. So he should have some chemistry with Amari Cooper, with DPJ, with, Njoku healthy back, that we'll be worried about extra points and not field goals as our main way to put points on the board this year, because we've relied on the field goal for too long because we keep getting stopped short. If we can get in the end zone, extra points are not the problem, right? So I'm not going to worry about a field goal kicker. I want touchdowns and extra points.
Yeah, and like I said, to be fair to the kid, it was almost a 50-yarder, first kick of the season, like you said. So, it is what it is. It's a preseason game. Thank God it doesn't count. My concern is, when you get to the regular season where these kicks actually count, for
but I don't even know I don't even know who was snapping and holding for him. I don't know if it was the guys that would do it as starters or if it was backups that were getting time in a preseason game. I mean, all those things, it seems stupid, but the way that ball is snapped, caught, and held can be the difference for a kicker, right? Laces out. Laces out, Marino. It can be the difference. And so I don't even know who was holding for him. So it could be as simple as he had a backup holder in there. Who knows? I'm not worried about it. People who were screaming about it on Twitter, they need to go, because it's way too early, way too soon to be worried about something like that.
Yeah, because Kay York is your kicker. There's nobody that's been brought into camp to be any competition for him. This is his sophomore year. So, we got to let him grow. And, these are some of the punches that come with, having pretty much a rookie kicker. So, it is what it is. So I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, everybody's really excited about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So that's a long to say. But, there's some glimmers of hope. Yeah, DTR. So there's some glimmers of hope right there, because
he's down to run. He's down to run.
Yeah.
He'll scramble.
Yeah. So, I think of a perfect situation like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, where you give DTR the opportunity to sit behind Deshaun Watson and see what he can grow to. Because do you think, what's his name? Josh, who's the backup quarterback? Yes, Josh Dobbs. Do you think he'll make the team?
Yeah, no,
or Kellen Mond will be cut? Okay.
I think Kellen Mond is gone. I think Josh will be a fine backup if Deshaun gets hurt and needs to miss a play or two. But I don't think either of them are the future of this franchise. For me, this might be the first time since the Browns came back in after, that 99, maybe the first time that we have had a quality starting quarterback with a quality prospect on the bench to take over for him when he's done.
Yeah, that's important, because
everyone else we've had on the bench has had to come in because of injury or poor play, right? I don't expect DTR to come in because Deshaun's playing poorly. I expect Deshaun to play well, to play the whole season, and knock on wood, God forbid, as long as he stays healthy, DTR shouldn't see playing time until it's the end of the fourth quarter and we're up by 30 points and we want to keep Deshaun, give him a rest, give him a break. Apparently a break and a rest is a breast.
But there is a lot of excitement about his play and what the possibilities could be. Hopefully, like you said, that Deshaun Watson, isn't hurt, or, I think the suspensions are done with, and he is allowed to move on in his football career. So, that's important to have that quality backup, and he has the opportunity to just sit and learn the game. So he'll be even better once he gets a chance to go in and actually play if need be. And, hopefully he doesn't have to play for 5 years and he can just sit up there with a clipboard and just cash his checks. I know he would want to do that, and I would want that for him. And then when his number is called, he can go in and do his thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So a lot of excitement. Well, Cleveland Kate, I know you got to go. We got to go take a break, but you've been listening to Her in a Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We love you, Cleveland Kate, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Music Historical Society presents Cleveland's Gospel Music Awards All White Gala, Sunday, August 6th at the Cleveland Marriott East, 26300 Harvard Avenue in Warrensville Heights. Doors open at 4 p.m. and dinner starts at 5. This glorious Cleveland Gospel star-studded event is where you want to be, celebrating and honoring the best of the Cleveland gospel music. Author and Fox 8 News anchor Jasmine Bailey is your
break.
host for this all-white affair, complete with food,
2 minutes.
fellowship, fantastic music, and of course, the award. You voted, and the results are in for the categories of Male and Female Group of the Year, Solo Artist of the Year, Radio Host of the Year, and more, including the coveted Song of the Year with nominees Blessed Hope Missionary Baptist Church for Thank You, Faith Hairston and the Chosen Vessels for Blessed in My Storm, Linda Williams for Heaven, Mary Glover for Over Chili Jordan, Sensational Saints for Fellow Man, and Spiritual Believers for On the Right Road. Also, the Epoch of Triumph Lifetime Achievement Award, recognizing the contributions of Pastor David Watt, Pastor John Twyman, the evangelistic team, late Mrs. Gertrude Ribbons, and the late Reverend Earl Preston. For more information, visit www.gmhs1.org. That's www.gmhs1.org or call 216-513-4668. 216-513-4668. Cleveland's Gospel Music Awards All White Gala, 5 p.m. Sunday, August 6th at the Cleveland Marriott East in Warrensville Heights. This message is brought to you by the Gospel Music Historical Society and 95.9 FM WOVU, Our Voices United, Burton Bell Carr Community Radio. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. Want to say what's up to Chris and Josh. I see you guys in the comments section. And as promised, Willie Epteen Jr. for you coming in at the second half at the 6:30 mark in the show. What's up, Willie? How you doing, sir?
What's good, Cleveland?
Boxing capital of the world.
Yeah, for real. What's up with the self-proclaimed modern day Jackie Robinson? It's like he turned into he got Sugar Ray Robinson by J-Ram. What's up with that?
All right, man, we're going to get to that in a second. But what do you think? Football, we talked about this last week, but football is officially here because you had the Hall of Fame game. So, and then the Browns play Friday night. So what's today? Monday. So we are here. Did you get a chance to watch the Hall of Fame game at all?
I watched the first series of it. So I was like a starter. I took myself out after the first series.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets kind of boring, with it being a preseason game and there's no starters playing and Kellen Mound started and stuff like that. Overall, what did you think of, the Hall of Fame and stuff like that with our Joe Thomas going in?
Well, I want to say something about Kellen Mond. For the brief time that I saw him, I did see some impressive play out of him. What can you say about Joe Thomas? This dude had 187 million consecutive snaps.
Yeah, over 10,000, which is insane.
And not only that being the best tackle in the game for a long time, but he probably would have been able to get in if he was an average tackle with that streak alone, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Longest streak. Yeah.
yeah, no doubt. And that's one of those records that we'll probably never see broken. I put it up there with the 56 hit consecutive streak by Joe DiMaggio. I put it up there with Barry Bonds and his 700 and whatever home runs, and then Barry Bonds again with 73 in a season. I mean, you're not going to see those records ever broken again. So congratulations to him, and not only just him, but to all of the inductees into the HOF.
Mm-hmm. What about the NBA? Will LeBron's points record be broken?
The way that the game is played right now, yeah, I believe someday it will. I don't know about
Curry.
No, I don't know if Steph will be able to do it because Steph is what, 36?
No, he ain't that old yet.
Yeah, he's up. He's like 35, 36.
No, he's not. I'm about to Google it right now.
Okay.
Steph is younger than that.
While you Google it, he may be 34. But while you Google it, I don't know, because LeBron is going to play at least another 2 years. We know that. How old is he?
35.
30, huh?
35.
Uh-huh. That means he'll be 36 on his next birthday.
I was wrong. Willie was right. March 14th, 1988. Dang, I thought he was younger than that.
Well, that is still pretty young by all things measured. But I don't know if I don't even think he's in the top 20 all time at this point, is he? So
I don't know.
He's not. He's not in the top 20 all time. And since that's the case, we probably only got to. Well, the thing about Steph though is that once you're able to shoot the basketball, that never goes away. His handle might go away, but I doubt it. I just don't think over the next course of the,
He's number 11.
He's the 11th all time.
Yeah,
he ain't gonna break it. Because he's got to do that within the next. He's got to pass 10 other people, to include Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which nobody thought that would ever be broken. So I give him he'll probably pass up Michael Jordan. I want to see this list now. You got me thinking. Let me look at this list and see what's going on, because if he is 35 years old, right? And he'd be 36 in the middle of next year. With the way that he's been going, what he's been averaging, like 28 for his career. Wait a minute. What kind of stat is this? This is weird. This is games.
He might not even be on the list. I just checked another list.
Oh gosh.
Shut up.
Okay. No, he is not number 20. He's not even number 30. And he's number 30. You know who's ahead of him?
Who?
His teammate. His new teammate. Chris Paul is ahead of Steph Curry in the all-time points scored.
Really?
Yes. Yes, he is.
Okay.
Now, so no, he's not gonna get there. I'm sorry. The only person who has a reasonable opportunity to get there will be Durant, because, as a matter of fact, Durant is the only active player in the top 20 of all time. So nope. James Harden is the next. He's 25 overall, but he's second in active players. Russell Westbrook is 27th overall, so he's third overall in active players. And then after that, man, you don't get another active player until Chris Paul at number 37, and then Curry at 38, and DeMar DeRozan at 39. And then
you got Kevin Durant on your list at number 13, right?
Yes.
Okay, we got the same list now, because I don't know where the other one came from that I had. Okay.
But Kevin Durant, I mean, being that he's 13th overall, I mean, he's played 500 and something games fewer than LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
That says a lot. So that tells you that obviously his scoring average is higher. Or maybe not. They don't have the scoring average on here for whatever reason. But yeah. So I will say that LeBron's record is safe probably for another 40, 50 years at least.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, look how long it took for this one to be broken.
Yeah, but in today's NBA where they don't play no defense.
Yeah, but again, it's not. It's gonna have to be somebody that's like only in their 5th year. And who do we see trending that way right now? Trey. What's the dude's name? Trey from Atlanta, the Hawks. I mean him.
Trae Young.
Trey Young. Do we see him getting there? I don't
No.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
I mean, unless they just take all the defensive players off the court, that would be the only way.
You got to be special to break that. And
Exactly.
LeBron has been special, so.
And you got to have longevity, which
he's had no major injuries.
No major injuries.
No significant missed time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
You look at it in the top 50. There's only 5 active players that are in the top 50 that are all-time leading scorers. I don't think it's going to happen. We won't see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I plan on living as long as I can. I'm trying to get to 100.
Well, you might see it then.
I'm trying to see it.
And even if you
I'm trying to see it.
Even if you do be able to see it, will you really be able to see it? Go over there and get my glasses, Sonny.
Will I be coherent as well?
Well, you might hear it, you won't see it.
God willing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Indeed.
So yeah, football is here. Will that record be broken? Just a quick insert while we're on basketball really quick. Ricky Rubio is going to be taking some time off from basketball from the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I'm not really sure how much, he hasn't really contributed his first year here. He was a contributor to the locker room and as a veteran. But he's announced he's going to take some time out. So we won't see him at the beginning of the year with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think that's okay because he really, he averaged like 5 points. So.
Well, if he's a veteran leadership or his veteran leadership will be missed, particularly on a team that is very, very young. What the Cavs, like the 2nd or 3rd youngest team in the NBA?
Yeah, they're very young.
Mm-hmm.
Very young.
So
yeah, focus on his mental health report. Brittany Griner had to do that. She had to sit out some games as well to focus on her mental health. So, mental health is very important. So I applaud him for, doing what he needs to do.
Another record that'll never be broken?
What?
Pete Rose. 42-56. That will never be broken.
I think Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Agree.
I think it's a travesty because you have to look at how he contributed to the game overall.
Yeah, because I think they should look at it like this. His contribution to the game, did he add more to it or did he take away from it more? And I think he added more to it. He had a couple of, those gambling incidents, which we know, of course, is a no-no. But, there are a lot of people in the Hall of Fame that had questionable character issues, such as the second all-time home run or second all-time leader in hits, which is Ty Cobb, who was known as a
virulent racist
or an avid racist. So Pete Rose would be like, "Yo, at least I didn't hate black people."
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're gonna go ahead and take a break right quick, and then we're gonna get into this boxing match that took place on Saturday night. Did you see the picture I posted on Facebook with Jose in his boxing gloves?
Jose Ramirez?
Yeah.
That wasn't no boxing match. That was a one-hitter quitter.
All right, you're listening to Her and Huddle on WOVU at 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Let me see if I can pull that.
Celebration with inspiration. We want you and all your people able to get ready to shout and praise with the Gospel Travelers for the 14th anniversary, happening September 24th at 6 p.m. at New Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church.
Can you close that door, please?
Hosting
I appreciate you. Love you. Thank you.
Gospel Kid Williams. The Gospel Travelers will be performing this hit. But wait a minute. Accompanying the Gospel Travelers for their 14th anniversary will be Cleveland's finest gospel artists, the Joynettes, the Starlighters, the Mondorian Singers, New Revelation, True Missionary Male Chorus, and Men Under Construction. Come take a praise break with us in the house of the Lord as we shake the walls in celebration at New Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church, September 24th at 6 p.m. For more information, call 216-835-4344. This message is brought to you by the Gospel Travelers at WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, Burtonville Park Community Radio. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. And I am here with Willie Epteen Jr. And we're about to get into what took place on Saturday night down at Progressive Field. So like Willie said, going into break, it pretty much was a one-hitter quitter. It was good when it started, though, because you didn't
wait, Rachel. We got a special appearance by somebody. Hold on one second. Hold on. Gotta show you how it's done, baby boy. One-hitter quitter.
Man, it was pure chaos for 15 minutes. But this fight originally started on Friday, so you know about that, right?
No, tell me what happened on Friday.
Okay, so Tim Anderson, Brian Rocchio, who is new to the team, Brian Rocchio was sliding in at second base. So what Tim did was wiped his hand away. So initially he was called safe.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I did.
And then they reviewed it and overturned it. So Tito got ejected, for arguing with the officials on Friday. So the reason that the fight kind of happened was Jose was saying he doesn't play the game the right way, and they talked to him, don't be doing that, don't be tagging like that. So Jose kind of took issue with, how he was tagged. And Tim had dropped his gloves, because this was what Jose said. He said Tim Anderson was like, let's fight, and dropped his gloves. And then, they got to throwing some blows. Tim Anderson tried to land two right punches, but they kind of ended nowhere on Jose because he's so short. And that's the thing. Jose's so short. So he was able to kind of duck and dive a little bit. And then he was just swinging at anything. So I kind of consider the punch to be a little lucky because he was just windmilling and trying to hit anything. And then he just managed to clock him, in the jaw. And with a right hook a little bit. I don't know if you call that a right hook, but, he kind of clocked him in the jaw and Tim went to sleep for a second.
Slapped him to sleep. Wait.
Tim was asleep for a second. Then when he got up, he was all woozy and stuff like that. Did you see that? How woozy he was when they was carrying him off the field?
Yeah, he was. I don't know if anybody out there that's watching, if you have ever seen old school wrestling, drop it in the comments section, because back in the day, there was this dude by the name of Hacksaw Butch Reed.
And I know about Hacksaw Jim Duggan, but Hacksaw Jim Reed?
Yeah, Jim Reed was the brother. It was him and Ron Simmons. They used to be Doom. And he used to do that same very thing, man. When he would get hit, he would do his legs like that, all wobbly. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, man. But this was real.
This
Because
was real.
wrestling is fake.
Yeah,
This
right.
was real. He took it on the chin, and that was all she wrote. And then
Yeah.
it was a melee that ensued. So we got the suspensions as well. Let me go to those. So yeah. So
Tim Anderson gets more games for the he got more games for getting knocked out than the
I
dude that
know.
actually knocked him out.
Dog, I had the suspensions too. Oh man, I don't know what I did with them. Tim got 6 games though. Jose got 3. Gabriel Arias was given a fine. Tito, I don't know if Tito was suspended for a game or not. Mike Sarbaugh, the third base coach, because he got in there to mix it up a little bit. He had a 1-game suspension. I think Tito had a 1-game suspension as well, and I think also the manager of the Chicago White Sox got a game as well. So there were some suspensions, handed out. So pretty much everybody gonna be fine as well. I don't know how Gabriel Arias makes, but I'm just like he probably don't make a ton of money, so I'm sure he don't want to be fined or anything like that. But yeah, so the punishments came out to today, and yeah, Tim Anderson was given 6 games and Jose 3. So
You
I
want
think
to know
that sounds about fair because Tim Anderson started it.
He did start it, and I think Tim has a little bit of a reputation.
Okay.
When you call yourself the self-proclaimed Jackie Robinson, because it was him and Josh Donaldson that got into it from the Yankees about that, about some sort of tag, if I'm not mistaken. And but I don't know.
It was. Oh, yeah. I think he just didn't like it. I think,
but they cool with each other. They homies.
Yeah, Josh. I think Josh Donaldson. You think a tag was involved with that one?
No, I think it was they were just talking noise, because I think what happened was Tim Anderson either struck out or got out with men on base or something. It was a big point in the game. And Josh Donaldson was like, "So you're the modern day Jackie Robinson, huh? Not playing like that." I think that's how it went down.
Okay, I got the suspension. So Tim Anderson was 6-game suspension and undisclosed fine. Jose 3-game suspension and undisclosed fine. Emmanuel Clase, our closer, had a 1-game suspension and an undisclosed fine. White Sox manager Pedro Grifo and Terry Francona have each received a 1-game suspension and an undisclosed fine. Guardians third base coach Mike Sarbaugh has received a 1-game suspension and an undisclosed fine. And in addition, the White Sox pitcher Michael Kopech and Guardians outfielder Gabriel Arias has each received an undisclosed fine. So those are suspensions doled out by Major League Baseball because Jose played yesterday. And Tim Anderson did not. But Jose did play yesterday and everybody else. So, and Tito managed yesterday. So I guess these suspensions will start today. And they have a pretty big series. They have the Toronto Blue Jays coming into town. But at this point, based on some of the moves that they've made, I don't know if this team is mailing it in right now.
Well, I mean, a lot of those moves that they made at the deadline or lack thereof, or I don't know, it seemed to me, and then I heard something somewhere, I can't remember where it was, but they were talking about Guardians fans and how Guardians fans were like, "Yo, what are y'all doing? We're right here." And then when we talked about it last week, I remember saying how, well, it must be the fact that the Indians, I'm sorry, the Guardians brass must believe that they still have enough to walk down the Minnesota Twins, because we saw what happened last year. And then that's what somebody, I think it was on MLB Network, they said the exact same thing. So they must have been listening to the show.
Well, they're 4.5 games out now. So I don't know if that's enough for them to surmount at this point with the way that they've been playing and shoddy play, getting rid of key people, key contributors to the team. And, one of the things is that pitching is an issue now because all your pitchers are hurt. So, you're bringing up these young guys. So that's also something that they have to contend with. And I don't know if they're going to be able to catch the Twins at all at this point in the season, because the biggest win streak that they went on is 4 games, and you got to get hot at the right time. And I don't know if this team is capable of it when they struggle to put runs on the board.
Yeah, and then of course Bieber's still on the IL, right?
Yes, he is.
Sticks is still on the IL, right?
Uh-huh.
Savali is now in Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Yeah, they may be
On,
mailing. They may
on
be
a
mailing it in
on a good team.
on a very well. They ain't been playing very good lately, but
No, I'm talking about Tampa Bay.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They're not.
Oh, okay.
They haven't been playing more good baseball lately because I don't know if you know, but the Baltimore Orioles are red freaking hot, and they got better at the deadline. And I don't know if Tampa Bay did.
Think about how crazy it was how the Baltimore Orioles were like the worst, one of the worst teams in baseball of last year. And they managed to turn it around.
Not well, yeah, they turned it around last year. They made a run and then completely fell apart in September. But I mean, those years like 16, 15, 16, 17, they were the armpit of Major League Baseball, along with the Kansas City Royals. But at least the Royals have won a championship this millennium.
Yeah, which is crazy because they terrible now.
Terrible. And they got some talent on that team, too. I mean, Salvador Perez, the catcher, set the all-time home run record for catchers in a season for that team. And then they got Bobby Witt Jr. and they got a couple other pieces too. I don't know what the deal is with those dudes.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. be tearing it up, you know, especially against the Guardians. And, you know, Whit Merrifield, he isn't on the Kansas City Royals anymore, but he was able to be successful against the Guardians as well. So they've had some players are just, you know, not being able to put it together that much. But, you know, I don't know if that was the best fight in baseball, though, quite honestly. I think Amir Garrett taking on all of the Pirates, I think that might have been the best fight in baseball. He tried to fight a whole team.
Well, you know, last week was the 34-year anniversary of when Nolan Ryan grabbed Robin Ventura's headlock and just started wailing on him.
Yep, and they said that was it was funny because somebody had said that was the second time that the White Sox was on the losing end of a fight, the worst fights in baseball, and they was on the losing end of one. So that's funny to me. And they was like, yeah, it was the 30th. Yeah, according to Elias, the White Sox have now taken the 2 worst beatdowns in baseball history tonight, and Nolan Ryan's epic victory over Robin Ventura.
Yeah.
So the White Sox can't fight.
Yeah, they can't fight, and they from the South Side of Chicago. Here's a note on Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. is the only player in the history of Major League Baseball to have 20 home runs and 30 stolen bases in his first 2 years as a pro.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy. And they can't be, well, I ain't gonna say they can't. They haven't shown yet that they're able to build around that dude. So
yeah. Well, it's going to take some time. You know, everything takes a little bit of time. So, you know, I think that they'll be able to put it together. But yeah, man. So I think Tim Anderson thought Jose Ramirez was soft.
Well, you know what? Another one that we're missing too is Rougned Odor versus Jose Bautista.
Oh, when did that one happen?
Oh, what year was that? I want to say 17, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 18.
Okay.
That's actually when the Rangers were playing in the old ballpark. So Rougned Odor or Wamba, Jose Bautista slid into second base in a way that wasn't deemed suitable, for the lack of a better word. And Rougned, he landed. I mean, the punch that he landed was more flush than what J-Ram did, but at least Bautista didn't go down the way that, I mean, Anderson went down like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, man. He went to sleep for a second. Well, Willie, you know, that's all we got for today. But you know, keep it locked right here for tomorrow. Her in the Huddle. Also, it's election day, a big day. So make sure you get out and vote. Vote no on issue 1, but just get out and vote. That's the most important thing, is to exercise your right, because people die for people to be able to have the right to vote. So, Willie, I want to thank you so much for your time today and look forward to seeing you next Monday. You've been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and